So I'm not going to say that I got a big revelation from God and he came and spoke to me and the light went off and I drastically put on my clothes. It was just like I stopped and I couldn't do it.
Millennial minded. The millennial minded. Millennial minded.
Welcome to the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise.
And Gia,
Listen, we're on episode 2.
episode 2.
And this is our first one that we're recording the actual video for it. So we're excited about that,
Yes.
to upload that to YouTube. So thanks for those that subscribed. Thanks for
you.
those that have followed and listened and commented. We really appreciate that. We need the support. And we have some hot topics to get into today, right?
Yes.
Listen,
Let's get into
by the way, yes, I forgot. So please follow on Instagram. We're at millennial.minded. That's our Instagram page. And our YouTube channel is the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. So please subscribe, follow, comment. We're going to be posting content again weekly. We're going to stay consistent. We'll follow back. Let's support each other.
Yes.
So let's get into it. What's trending?
What is trending?
There's a lot happening this week.
Yes, this has been a very busy week. Very busy week.
Yeah, our commander-in-chief, our president, Bob Woodward, journalist, is writing a book, and he was recording some audio from his interviews with President Trump. And one of the things that came up, let me take a look. On February 7th, they knew about coronavirus, and our president elected to he informed Bob Woodward that one, it's not like your seasonal flu. It's actually worse.
Yes.
It's more deadly. And then on another recording on the 19th, he's saying that he rather downplay it. He doesn't want to incite panic in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff coming out. What do you think about this news about our president knowing how deadly this virus was, knowing that it's worse than the flu, and yet decided to downplay it?
I think downplaying it made it actually worse than what he, turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
When you downplay something, you leave us to speculate. We were all manic. We were all in a rush. Our country shut down. This has never happened to us before. And he actually had the information that at his hand almost a month before it got really bad. They're saying, according to this journalist, had he been proactive when he knew how bad it was, there could be almost 50,000 lives saved if he had acted like a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier from the day that he decided to, close the borders and do everything. What I have an issue with is our commander-in-chief is like a marriage, a contract that we have with him.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So we selected him to be our president. Not all of us, but it is what it is. He is our president.
Yes, he is.
And we have a contract with him to protect and provide, which leaders are supposed to do for their household. He is the leader of this country.
Yes.
If you think trying to keep us calm and keep us less of a panic by downplaying the seriousness of almost 200,000 people losing their lives in America, if you think that was a good choice, because when he was addressed with it, he was like, I didn't lie. I'm a leader, and I had to keep it together, and I had to make sure that the people were protected. And so you had to put up a facade that you had it all together while your people are dying, while the shelves are empty, while people are scattering for food and for resources, and people losing their jobs, and all of this because you had to look a certain way as a leader as to not panic was going to happen either way. This is something unusual.
Right. So, like, true form of leadership is one, telling the truth, and stating the facts. Listen, remain calm,
Yes.
but this is the issue. This is what's going on. This is what it is, and this is how we're going to handle it. And you go from there. Like a pilot, if they're going to crash, hey, remain calm, fasten your seatbelt, brace for impact. That's what you do. You tell the truth. He knew that it was airborne. They knew all that stuff, and he still chose to willfully neglect American people, and it's caused, like you said, so much damage, so many lives lost unnecessarily. Another thing from the tapes, I don't know if you saw that Bob Woodward was pressing him on systematic racism, and he's like, "Do you think systematic racism exists?" And Trump's like, "Yeah, I think it's everywhere." But and he's like, "No, in America, do you think it's in America?" And he's like, "Yes, unfortunately, it is here, but it's unfortunate. But yes, I believe that it is." But he never acknowledges
What he's going to do about it.
or what he's going to do about it, or that it even exists publicly.
Publicly.
Publicly,
Okay.
he doesn't address it. There's good people on both sides, or stuff like that. He never addresses systematic racism, but yet he knows. So that goes to show me this guy, he's not an idiot. He's really appealing to a certain demographic, his base.
Yes.
And he can't say those things publicly, but he knows, and just like everyone could see, even your president knows, yes, there's systematic racism in America.
Yes.
So that hopefully that whole debate, if it does exist or not, can be put to bed. President acknowledged it. That's the reality of it. That's what we're facing right now. Next point, we can talk about coronavirus vaccine.
The vaccine. So I'm not opposed to the COVID vaccine. The only thing that we are opposed to is that it should not have been done this quick.
Okay.
According to research, it takes years to create a
to develop a
vaccine. So the fact that we have a vaccine and it's been less than a year, it's too fast, too soon. But
Are
I'm
you
not
taking it?
I'm going to let Ivanka Trump, because she said she going to go on The View and take it live. So I'm going to let about 100,000 people take it first and see how they react to it, and then I'm going to take it. But vaccination is nothing new. If you have children, you already know that if your children does not have about 8 to 10 required vaccinations, you got to pull them up out of public school. So it's not something that's just like rare. It's just that it's too fast, and how they're testing people. I think the last one that made it the furthest, they tested a woman in the UK and she got like inflammation in her spine or something like that. And it's just like, I'm not opposed to the coronavirus vaccine. I just won't be taking it in 2020. I am going to take the flu vaccine this year though.
I asked my mom if I ever did, and I guess when I was younger I did, but I know teenager in my adulthood, I've never taken the flu vaccine.
No.
Like, so you're not like an anti-vax person?
No, I get the flu vac. Last year was the first year in a long time that I did not get the flu vaccine, and I caught the flu.
Wow.
And I caught the flu, and it was really bad. Of course, I was given Tamiflu, and it cleared it up in about 4 days, but I was completely out. I was masked with the mask to go get my medicine and whatnot. So I'm not anti-vaccine at all. I do believe in vaccinations. There is a bunch of information out there about vaccinations. I think you have to read up on it for yourself. But I just...
Do you feel like, is there a link, or have you heard of a link towards vaccines and autism?
I heard of a link. Autism is one of my specialties. The guy, I can't tell you his name offhand.
Okay.
The guy did research for less than the research time required before he put out that information that caused such a scare about vaccination and autism. That is a myth. I can tell you that now. Now, if we want to get into that in a couple of more episodes,
Okay.
I'll have information ready. But vaccinations and autism
Is a myth.
is not related. It is not true.
Tell that to Robert De Niro, the actor, who said that his son changed and had autism once he was vaccinated. He never had problems before. I believe that's the case. You can go double check that, because I don't want to spread false information. But I believe that he was saying, his son was fine, got vaccinated, and then boom, everything changed in his life.
Wow.
So I don't know.
There are different. We're gonna all react differently, and there are some things that people can tolerate that other people cannot tolerate.
Yeah,
but as far as just certain vaccines causing autism, that
Okay.
is not true.
Okay, I can roll with that. Let's go to the next point. I'll save that one for later. Have you heard of a meat shortage coming or happening in America? Because I know when the pandemic really was in the thick of it, factories, meat processing plants closed down because they're working close together. People were getting sick. They had to shut down. So there was a shortage. Plus, people were buying up stuff like crazy. So I know that I would say to our listeners, stock up on meat if that's something that you do. We are currently going vegan, right? You and I?
Yeah,
Okay.
walking into veganism.
We're walking into veganism. It's been good. I feel better eating, the greens. I have more energy. I'm not as tired as much. I'm not groggy after eating. So just want to put that information out there. If you're a meat eater, go ahead and stock up if you can. I don't know if they're putting limits on it, but I have heard rumors about a meat shortage. How's your vegan walk been going for you though?
Well, I said I wanted by next year be fully vegan. So right now I'm pescatarian, but I still crave meat. So it's not. I haven't
Me too.
maybe once every 2 weeks or something, I'll crave fried chicken or something like that. I don't really crave red meat unless it's oxtails, which is really rare. But
I don't eat oxtails.
so far, I feel better. I feel like I can digest and I don't feel as full as I usually do. I feel that, my body flushes out better, and I'm not as fatigued and tired, and I do have more energy. So I'm excited about walking into veganism. I really want to be plant-based, and the meat shortages for people the meat shortage was a real deal in March. I was one of those that went to different stores to find meat to stock up on, and it was literally at one point the only thing that they had was pork. It was pork shoulder, pork chops, whatever. So we had to make do with what we had. It was 3 weeks later that the supply started coming in, and then there was a limit on how much meat you can buy. So if you have a family, I have a family of 2, but if you have a family of 6 and you only can buy 2 packs of chicken. That is something that we need to look at. So I would encourage for people to incorporate more plant-based, more beans, more protein. I'm not a fan of the meat substitutes.
Me either.
The soy, I'm not a fan of the meat substitutes. I do like the mushrooms as a meat substitute, but as far as the processed, tofurkey, and I'm not a fan of that. But I'm training my body to respond well to the plant-based food that is available to me.
It tastes good. You're gonna feel better. I would encourage everyone to watch on Netflix the show called The Game Changer. It's about maybe 2 hours long. It's about athletes that have gone plant-based, have gone
Okay.
vegan, and how they're still productive and actually have excelled and exceeded
Oh, okay.
where they were when they were eating meat. How they've like blossomed as athletes. Some of my favorite athletes are that I didn't even know are vegan, and they're losing weight. They're playing. They're healthier. Cam Newton from the Patriots, the New England Patriots quarterback. He's vegan. He feels great. He looks great. He's in shape. Like, vegan right now is the wave.
Oh, okay.
It really is
that
the way-
dairy free too? Like, do you have to go dairy free if you go vegan? Yeah, because milk comes from a cow.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay, so I'm a pescatarian that still eat cheese. I still crave cheese.
Mhm.
I still have a half a carton of eggs in my refrigerator.
Haven't had
But
eggs
I'm
in a
just
minute.
making little steps. So just little steps towards
Right.
better health and better choices.
Right. Don't go cold turkey. Little steps. Get there, and your life will be so much better. So try it out. Last topic about what's trending is something that really hit home. First of all, the NFL is back.
Okay.
So I was
Congratulations to
yes.
those who watch it.
So I was excited about that. Football is back. We had the game Thursday night, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans, and so the NFL elected to play both anthems, like the American anthem and the Lift Every Voice.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. So the Houston Texans, the one team decided to not even come out for both anthems because they didn't want to be like any division for what they're trying to do. They don't want to take any backlash. They want people to see like, all right, we're neutral.
Okay.
We're not disrespecting the flag,
Okay.
not disrespecting anthems or the veterans, anything like that. So, but after the anthems played, both teams came out together.
Mm-hmm.
They locked arms
arms.
in unity, and they were met with boos. And I'm like, how is that possible? My initial thought was, okay, so before when Kaepernick was kneeling, no one kneeled
Mm-hmm.
during that time of unity.
Okay.
Okay, but it was you're disrespecting the flag. You're disrespecting the vets, even the veterans. Even though we're saying no, it's not about that. It's about police brutality, racial justice. It's not about that. We're not trying to disrespect anyone in that regard. We have respect for police officers and those putting their lives on the line. But they were met with all that stuff. Now they're just locking arms and saying unity for social justice, and that's it. Yet they were still booed. So it was never about the flag.
Never.
At this point when you're still booed for that. And I know not everyone's booing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see, I'm trying to like flip it, put myself like, do I want to necessarily see these athletes? Maybe some people just want to just play sports. Like, I just want to be entertained. I'm not here for this. So maybe that's why they booed.
Okay.
I think there's a certain percentage that did that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure there's another percentage that is booing because they don't want unity. There were white and black players locked, linked together
Yes.
in unity, and they don't want that. They're okay with the way things are, and I think that's what hurt the most. Like, how can you come against something like that? Like, we're just unity. How do you boo something like that? And that hit hard for a lot of players. They're like, it was unfortunate.
Wow.
They can understand it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't follow football per se, but weren't we supposed to be boycotting the NFL a couple of years ago
Oh,
anyway?
you were
So
there.
we aren't even supposed to be watching. But now that we are watching, I had to take in context time and place. So they were in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
Missouri a red or a
think-
blue state?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Midwest, it might be.
Yeah, it may be a red
Might
state.
be a red state.
Maybe a red state. And then
Right.
when I looked at the video, majority of the seats were empty.
Yeah. Only 17,000 fans, not
Yeah,
full capacity,
It wasn't full capacity,
but enough to be heard.
enough to be heard. Because I had to go back and listen for the boos.
Yeah.
And then they did a quick skim of what the crowd looked like that was booing. And the crowd didn't look like the majority of the players that's on the NFL.
Of course.
So of course. So now when Marquis says it was never about the flag. So Kaepernick kneeled. They didn't come out, and then they stand together in unity, and they still are booed. It is a slap in the face. It does feel like you're saying just shut up and play. Now, some people are saying that they do not want politics and activism intertwined with sports.
Okay.
They don't want to see it there.
Right.
But if you have 80% all African American or people of color that plays for the NFL, the majority of the people that play for the NFL, this is their platform.
Yes. Yes.
This is their platform. So although you do not want to see it, you don't want to see them come together against something that's important to them, but you want them to run the ball up and down the field for your entertainment.
There we go.
We're not entertainers. We are not show horses or what they used to call them, show monkeys or
probably.
It is a term that is just like we were used for entertainment for so long.
Yes, yes.
Okay, because we had to teach ourselves how to some singing came natural, but to play different instruments and to do different things to entertain other people. And now that this is a sport that we are the majority in, you're still treating us this way.
Yeah, that's what people have to realize. Like the majority of the league is minorities, but they're still human. Like even though they're getting paid this salary, and they may not experience the kind of injustice a regular black person will experience. They're speaking up about it for others. They're being a voice for others that don't have a voice. Or it's just something that's really dear to them, and they just want to. And they didn't speak up. They just
stood there, locking arms. But let's take it a little bit further.
Oh, okay.
So, 80% of the NFL is minorities. No, 80% of the NBA is minorities. 70% is of the NFL
she got
is
facts, y'all. She got facts.
Yes, 70% of the NFL are minorities. Major League Baseball is kind of split. Let's take it to hockey.
Okay.
So Kansas City fans that were booing when they were locking arms, had that been your hockey team, locking arms, guess how many minorities are in the National Hockey League in America?
I don't know.
5. 5 of them.
Okay.
From what I got 5 of them are minorities or people of color. Over 700 of them are Caucasian or Canadian.
Yeah.
From Canada or America. Okay. So 5 of them are African Americans. So let's take the hockey team in place of the NFL team. Do you think they still would have booed if they seen all their hockey players intertwined like that? It's deliberately towards us.
Yeah.
This, again, is systemic racism.
Yeah.
And the things that we see, that is towards us. And you don't want us to feel, you don't want us to talk about it, you don't want us to kneel about it. You don't want just shut up and pass the ball. But y'all don't do that to your hockey players. So if you have a problem with the NFL, go watch hockey. Period, point blank.
I love it. Listen, if they came together for breast cancer, they'll be clapping.
It would be clapping.
If they came together for autism, they'll be clapping. It wouldn't be a problem. If they came together and locked arms for veterans, everyone would be clapping. Why is it when it comes to us, not everyone can clap? That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking. Did you get the All Buildings Matter yesterday?
Jesus,
okay.
No, I didn't see that one.
So it was just a little bit of a debate, and I won't go too far into it. But the Twin Towers were a part of American history that were destroyed because of 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave the equation of when people come and say, all lives matter, all lives matter, all lives matter, when we say Black Lives Matter, let's take it further and say all buildings matter. So what they're saying is the 2 buildings that were destroyed, and we're just talking about the physical buildings themselves, not the people. We already know that there were people in the buildings that also perished.
Yes.
But when we say that Black Lives Matter, we're talking specifically about Black Lives Matter. And when you counter and say all buildings matter, but on 9/11, everyone came together. There was no race, no color, no creed, no religion. We all came together. But now we're in 2020, and we have this racial divide. It is not 2001, and we're not all like in fear of the terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
They put up a hashtag that says all buildings matter. Every person that is pro White Lives Matter were absolutely destroyed. They were upset. They were offended. How could you say all buildings matter? We're only talking about we're only talking about the Twin Towers. We're only talking about those 2 buildings. How could all buildings matter? All buildings does not matter. Okay. Clink, 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 light bulb.
Yeah.
All lives matter. We're not talking about all lives. We're talking about Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
So
yes.
it is, again, something that we have to continually come with different definitions. We got to come with different examples for certain people to get it. So it was an uproar yesterday.
Aren't you tired of educating people, though?
I don't feel it's my place.
Why you
I
say
don't
that?
feel it's my place. I think you know enough about this country that you should dig and see why we're so hurt and and why some of us are really angry and why some of us are tired. I cannot sit and explain to you why I feel the way I feel without you doing your research first. Then let's have a conversation about it and see where we come from. But for me, that's exhausting to me.
It is. It really is exhausting. I don't know. I find myself trying to do it or doing it sometimes, and it's like you're really like they're really not. Some people are really trying not to get it. They're going out of their way, above and beyond, to like not see. I don't know how you cannot see what's going on, but you give these examples, these illustrations, and they're like people are like, no, racism's not in America's DNA at all. No such thing as systematic racism. No, these things are not real, and it's like. I can't do it anymore. I've tried. Listen, when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not saying we're the only ones that matter.
No.
We're just saying, we want to get on equal standing with the rest of the world. You know what I mean? It's not just about us. We just want to be equal with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not all police are bad.
No.
Right? We support police officers. Right? They see the worst in some of these communities.
Yes.
That's a lot of mental and emotional strain on someone's psyche, and then they got to go home to their families.
Yes.
We support police officers. Not all are bad. We know there's good ones. The good ones, if you're not singling or showing or exposing those bad ones, you are a bad cop, though. You know what I mean? If you're still covering for people that you know are not good, you're still a bad cop.
That's true. But not all white people are racist.
Of course.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Some of the protests,
white people are showing up, right?
Yes. They standing right beside us. They fighting. Those the ones that's fighting. and listen, we like, y'all go ahead and fight. Let them videotape y'all fighting. We gonna stand back. But yeah, it's not the majority. They are not the majority, but so that is still the issue.
Yep. Okay. Let's get into the heated debate and topic of episode 2, the crutch of it. So, my cousin Gia on episode 1. If you haven't listened, go back and listen. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're now on YouTube. Tune in. We're a bunch of places. Wherever you listen to your podcast. So we ended with a shocking revelation that we're talking about abortion, and that you are pro-choice.
I am pro-choice and a Christian. Look at that. Yes, I am.
Right. So
So wait,
Go ahead.
but are you not pro-choice?
I thought about this for a while, all week before we got here,
Okay.
and I think my personal belief is that I am pro-choice.
That's shocking
Why is that shocking?
because you're like really like. I thought you was really gonna come and say no, this, that, cause I came ready, y'all. I have my notes here. I'm ready because I'm looking like Marquise going to come with some. This is how it got to be, and I'm about to lay him out.
Light him up.
But okay. So let's get into it.
Okay.
I am pro-choice. I believe in a woman's right to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, because we are both deacons, we are both Christians, so we do believe what the Word of God says about being created in a womb and God knowing us from the womb and God creating us. We do believe that all life
Before
God-
you were formed in the womb, he knew
before
us,
you
right?
were formed in the
Jeremiah.
womb. So that means before some of these abortions were completed, God knew who would be here and who wouldn't be here,
Yes.
if we say that.
Yes. So, your personal belief is you're pro-choice, and you had like a story you wanted to
I
share or
do.
testimony.
It's just the Reader's Digest version.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
so my son will be 19 in a couple of weeks, as I said last episode. I found out I was pregnant in the 12th grade. 12th grade, I was pregnant.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to tell my mother. I didn't want to tell anybody except for me and my son's father. Him and I knew. My little sister actually knew because she actually walked in when I was taking the test.
Oh.
And I said, it's somebody else's test anyway.
What?
Yeah, she wasn't stupid though.
Okay,
so
okay,
she
okay,
knew what
okay,
it was. And I'm
okay.
just like, I just was taking it XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
So I was undecided. So I went to my school nurse and I asked, what should I do? I don't want my mother to know. I have a twin sister and I don't want my twin sister to know. We have all these plans after high school, getting our apartment together, going into different fields. So what should I do? My nurse said, I'm going to send you to Planned Parenthood. I have a friend there. You don't have to tell anybody. I'll never forget. It was Planned Parenthood in East Orange, New Jersey. I think it was like right on Main Street. So I went to Planned Parenthood. It was me, my son's father, and my friend Marcy actually came with me for support because I was
Shout
just
out
like,
to Marcy.
okay, she came with us, and I went there, and I never forget. I registered, and I went back to the table.
Wait,
The
you went there just to talk to someone?
No, I already knew I was pregnant.
Okay.
I got the referral from my nurse to go and get an abortion.
The nurse gave you, okay.
Yeah, they can give you the referral at school, public schools. So
She didn't try to talk to you, like maybe not do this?
that wasn't her job to. So it was not. She said they would give me the information once I got there. So once I got there, I don't know if y'all know, but my copay was $6. $6. I had to bring my insurance card, and all I had to pay out of pocket was $6 to get an abortion. So I went
Wow.
there, and the lady was talking to me. And if you have a look of confusion, or if you look like you are swelling up, they say we'll give you 3 days.
Okay. Do you know how far along you were?
At this point, I believe I was 11 weeks.
Okay.
So she told me, I'll give you 3 days, but you got 2 more weeks to make a decision. I only had a 2 week because at 13 weeks it's capped in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I went, I got there, and I looked undecided. I looked very nervous, and the lady was like, are you sure you want to go through with this? And I'm looking like, she was like, you'll be out of here in 15 minutes. You have a ride waiting at $6. You'll be out here in 15 minutes. And I was thinking to myself, 15 minutes, Get it done, get it over with. Pay the
Mhm.
$6. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. And as I went to go undress, something was just like, I can't do it. What happened was they let me hear the heartbeat, and I don't think they should have let me hear the heartbeat. So I kind of just put on my clothes, and I was like, all right, I'll give y'all a couple of days. I can't make up my mind right now. And the lady said, you too distraught anyway. So
Mhm.
we, just let us know. And I left out of there. I told my son's father, listen, this is something that we're going to have to do because I can't bring myself to do this.
Mhm.
My friend Marcy was like, okay, G, you got this. This is what you want to do. She was really there for moral support. Nobody was swaying me one way or the other. So I'm not going to say that I got a big revelation from God and he came and spoke to me and the light went off and I drastically put on my clothes. It was just like I stopped and I couldn't do it. Not everybody has that moment where they stop and can't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think no one has the right to ask for an explanation from a woman when it comes to that point. Because what you'll hear is excuses if you are pro-life. You'll hear excuses. Oh, I'm not financially ready. I'm not mentally ready. I don't have housing. The father doesn't want it. You'll just hear a bunch of excuses. So I didn't want to have to explain that to anybody, but I did feel the need to have to explain why I didn't get it.
Okay.
Which was, it was kind of counterproductive.
yeah,
So it's just
yeah.
like, girl, you're 17. Like, why didn't you? Like, it's
Mhm.
normal at that point. And it wasn't for me at that point. But I do understand the women that do proceed and get it.
That heartbeat, I think this could be detected with a vaginal ultrasound within like 5 to 6 weeks. That is a tough call to make. And I guess, I'm pro-choice because I understand, both sides of it. Like, I can't tell you what to do
With your body.
with your body. I totally agree with that and support that. That's tough to go through. It's a lot is since I think 2016, like 600,000 abortions were done in 2016, 623,000, something like that.
It is your constitutional right to get an abortion. Y'all know that, right? And I think people are they are misinformed, thinking that Republicans are for making abortions illegal and Democrats are.
More so.
But abortions are completely legal. It's constitutional. It's your right with the Roe versus Wade in 1973. It's that states put their guidelines on them, so they have restrictions by state.
Okay.
And I guess
Didn't know
the more Republicans have more restrictions. So Republicans will say, yeah, we know abortion is legal and they can't make it illegal, but we can say you can't do it after 13 weeks. And when you try to do it after 13 weeks, you have to have a parent signature. And if you don't have a parent signature, you have to have this. And so they just put stipulations on it. Now in Jersey, there's no restrictions. Up to 13 weeks, you don't have to tell your parents. I didn't have to tell my parent if I gone through it.
Yeah.
And Medicaid pays for it.
That blows my mind. $6?
And that was just the fee for Planned Parenthood to fill out the paperwork. My Medicaid paid for it. I took my mother had Medicaid for me at that time, and it covered it. Man. And from what I understand, it's New Jersey is still covered under Medicaid.
Didn't know that. So,
but you can go to New York. Now, the stipulations are different in New York. New York gives you up to 24 weeks. Now, that I have an issue with.
Why?
Because now, here's why I have an issue with that.
Go ahead, Gia. Go ahead.
But by 13 weeks, which is standard in New Jersey, they saying the fetus cannot live outside of the mother's womb during that stage.
Okay.
But by 6 months, a fetus can live outside the womb. So 24 weeks, I think, is a little, I
Yeah,
don't
makes
agree
you
that you
cringe
should.
a little bit.
Yeah, don't wait 6 months to make this decision as a woman. I'm not judging if you do. I personally am against like waiting until 6 months. If you're gonna make the choice,
Yeah.
then try to do it. Don't you because it's a mental strain and an emotional strain that women have when they have to. It's not an easy choice to make. Period.
Mm-hmm.
For the normal woman, it's not
Yeah.
an easy choice if you have to make that choice.
Right.
But to wait longer, it seems a little bit more.
Yeah. I agree with that. Now you said, got it, that you're pro-choice. You gave your story about it,
Yes.
but you wouldn't, if I remember correctly, you wouldn't take someone physically to the Planned Parenthood location.
I would not.
Why
I
is
would-
that?
Because I don't.
If you're pro-choice.
If I am pro-choice,
Okay.
I am pro-choice, but I do not believe that abortion is the answer. I know it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't
No,
think
I-
it should be the final result. So I don't do. So I wouldn't be the one that says, "Okay, you don't have a ride there. I'll give you the ride," because of my morals and my conscience. And it's just like, I wasn't. I have been able to talk a couple of people out
Out
of
of
an
doing that?
abortion. Yes, I have. So I
Nice,
will give
nice,
myself
nice.
that after I have been able to talk and some people was like, Gia, that's your story. I don't want to hear it. I'm not you. This ain't for me. And I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not be the vehicle that would take somebody there. I found myself talking a lot of younger women out of it. Not a lot, but a few younger women out of it. So I just wouldn't be able to have that on my conscience as a Christian to say,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's pivot, because the shout out to Sean P. He commented. I don't know if you saw, commented on our
Yeah.
YouTube page. God is pro-choice. So you brought up that you're a Christian. You don't see yourself like being the vehicle for someone to do that.
Yes.
Is abortion morally right? Or, all right, let me not even go there. Let me not go there. Is God pro-choice in your opinion?
Okay. I would have to say, don't kill me on this. God gave us a choice to do everything. He gave us a choice to worship. He gave us a choice to choose him. He gave us a choice not to choose him. He gives us a choice of heaven and hell. He gives us a choice to how to live.
Right.
But do I stop and say that he don't give us a choice to do this?
Well, the ultimate, I guess, the ultimate like way to show that you love someone, the freedom that God gave us
Mm-hmm.
to make our own choices. That is
Mhm.
like the ultimate expression of love,
Yes.
that we can choose whichever way to go. However, we have this word
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much, I would say, against everything that we love to do as humans,
That's
right?
true.
Right. So there's views, meaning the Bible, everyone. There's these views and word doctrine that, this is this, this is this, this is this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not you choose to do this and this, there might be consequences for those choices. But because of his love for us, you have the right to choose, whatever you want to do. So I get that perspective, that that's the perspective that Christians have, that, God is pro-choice, because you can choose whatever you want to do. But would God support that decision? Is there a consequence for that decision? Is God pro-life? And when I look at the scriptures, I've seen instances where in Hosea or Exodus, I forgot the actual quotation, so forgive me. I'm usually on point with that, but like stuff happening in the Bible, and innocent people being killed, children being killed. King Herod, right, killed a bunch of children trying to get to find Jesus, to kill him. I see instances like that, but I always see that God is against that. I don't see that God is for killing a life in that instance. So Are we both on the same page? Like God is pro-life, or are you still saying? Are you saying God is pro-choice?
I'm saying God is pro-choice.
Okay. Is that morally right in your opinion? Like, all right, so people say I have a moral right to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's say we're going a road trip. We're in a van. It's like 10 of us. We get in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
5 of us live. 5 of us die.
Mm-hmm.
People would say, God is immoral. He chose to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Chose to let that happen. But now you have a choice to determine whether something within you lives or dies. Is that not immoral?
It could seem immoral, but my morals and your morals are objective to who we are as people.
But now we're talking about God.
As far as what God says, I do not think He would be for us getting an abortion. I do not think, because he want us to procreate. He want us to do the things that He called us to do. But I don't think. Let me just put it in layman's terms.
Go ahead.
You ain't going to hell because of it. Because you ain't going to hell because of it. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there.
Go
Now,
ahead,
there's some
please.
things that we have to repent. Now, if you're a Christian and we know what the word says about repenting and receiving the baptism of the Holy Spirit and all of that.
Right.
But some people are not Christians. They still get an abortions. And what I think, I don't want to call them Bible thumpers, is some Christians use certain scriptures to beat people over the head to say, God says this, 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 and that. And I'm here to say that as much as He says, thou shalt not kill, He says, thou shalt not steal, and thou shalt not lie, and have no other God before me.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a part of the commandments. It's something that you said that God requires from us that we almost never get right, period.
That's why we need Christ.
That's why we need
Right.
Christ. But it's something that, again, it's my choice. And if I feel like, does it burden me morally? Is it something that's on my conscience? I don't think the most conscious person will say, I can just do this and not. Yeah, it got to be something wrong with your spirit just to say this is it. But whatever choice that comes behind it, I think God will forgive you based on.
Wow.
Yeah. If He can forgive me for every other sin, why can't He forgive me for this?
Yeah, you have convinced me. I agree with you. I actually
Come on.
I agree with you.
We're going to get flack for this, but it's okay. This is our perspective and this is our voice.
Yeah, if you forgive me for a whole bunch of other stuff, why wouldn't He forgive? Yeah.
Why wouldn't He? I sat in, just real quick, I sat in a service one time, and the pastor, he was pro-life. And he wanted us to see a video. We can get into that, like, on a couple of more things of, like, Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger and this, that, and the fourth. But he actually showed a video. He had the kids go upstairs and he showed a video of what happens to the fetuses that are formed that are aborted.
Okay.
And I had to chase a young girl out of the church vomiting.
Jesus.
She was vomiting. And I had to chase her out of the church, and it was so evident that, this is something that was burdened on her heart and something that she was dealing with. And my thing is to show that video and have her thinking like she could have ended her life after that. So we got to be very careful when we put these things out in front of people to convince them one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
We can give what the actual word says. Let people make the choice, and if they feel convicted, they ask for forgiveness, or your relationship with God is your relationship with God. We can't determine that. But we got to be careful when we say God is pro-life, and what you did is wrong, and this, that, and the fourth, and people thinking that they meet in their children in heaven and all of that. It turns out to be more than what we can explain. Some things we can't explain, and some things we can't justify. And
Right.
so if I can't justify your choices, you can't justify my choices. So I can give you the facts. I can give you my testimony at what happened to me. It may not be for you, but we cannot beat people over the head because of this.
But okay, so you would try to talk that person out of it, or
I
maybe.
would.
All right. What about if well, you're saying you have the choice to do it. If a person was raped and ended up pregnant, would you support have an abortion then?
This is why I am pro-choice, because I believe in rape and incest. Women should have the right to have an abortion if they choose not to carry on with the pregnancy. Now, we are in America.
Yes.
There are some countries that abortion is legal.
Illegal?
Illegal.
Okay.
There's some countries in Africa and some countries in India where abortion is illegal. Now, let me tell you what women and young girls,
Okay.
I know you don't want to hear it, but we're talking about it, so let's go.
Mm-hmm.
They go to extreme measures because they are not allowed the freedom of choice that, we have. So let's say Africa. There have been reports that women would not be able to have an abortion. They would have to carry the baby full term, and because they did not want the baby, they would go into forests in Africa, have the baby, and leave the baby in the forest and go back home. Now, they left the baby in the forest, and it's not like somebody coming to pick up the baby. That the baby was left there to be eaten by wild animals. The baby was left there to be eaten by wild animals.
Yeah,
But there are girls as young as 10 that's giving birth in some of these countries that do not have their government will not
backing them.
not back them. So that's why I believe, as a woman, we have been told what to do with our bodies for years.
That's true.
We have y'all. Some women back in the days.
What you mean, y'all?
Because you're a man.
Okay.
So a man was able to tell me if I had 6 daughters that I'm going to keep having babies until you get a son years ago. That's because it was let's just be clear. As a woman, we've been told what to do, what to put in our bodies, what not to put in our bodies, what to put on our bodies for years. And now that we have this choice, we get much of the resistance from
men?
From men that they you can't tell me what the heck to do no more. You must be out your mind. You've been telling me what to do for hundreds of years.
I'm not going to argue that one. I don't want to get canceled. Nah, I agree with you. I'm joking. I agree with that. Okay. So you would discourage a person. What about have the baby, but maybe give it up for adoption?
I agree
Right?
with adoption. If that some people are just if you can find a good adoption agency, if you have people in your family, people that that want children, but if you choose to say, well, I don't know what's going to be the outcome of this child's life if I give it up for adoption, because let's be clear, there are horrible homes that children are living in. So you don't know what's going to happen to that child if they go into an adopted home or into the foster care system or go to live with somebody else. And there's some people that do it. Like I do have a friend that they gave her a really bad diagnosis for her child. Like, if the baby lives, the baby will never walk. It will never talk. She'll always be in Pampers. Her brain won't develop. And it's that and the fourth. And so there's some instances where women are saying, I don't want to bring a sick child in the world. And I understand that. But, ratios are ratios, and that's not guaranteed. And so.
Okay. So, all right. So before this conversation that I'm having with you, I'm like, yo, God is pro-life. Yes. And if you look at that scripture, before you were formed in the womb, he already knew you.
Which scripture is that, Isaiah?
No, it's Jeremiah.
He was talking directly to Jeremiah, too. So people get that mixed up. Because that's the scripture that they use. That's one of the scriptures that was used to the girl that I had to chase out the church. It was
yeah,
it was and I'm looking.
You don't think that applies to all of us? Because Romans
At the end of the verse, he was still talking to Jeremiah. He was specifically telling that to Jeremiah.
Okay, let me find something real quick. Bear with me. I believe it's. You have your Bible app? Hold on. I believe it's Romans
Mm-hmm.
15
Mm-hmm.
and 4. Okay.
Okay.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So people take that like, yo, whatever was written,
It was for me too.
it was for me too,
Okay.
right? It was for me too.
So God told, after he told that to Jeremiah, so if I read it, he's telling me to go build nations and go prophesy to people that ain't even going to hear. Because
You got to take certain things, yes,
that's
literally
what we do,
for that
though.
person.
We take certain things.
Right. So I do believe some of that was for Jeremiah,
Yeah.
but I do believe a lot of it was for us, for our learning, for us to comfort through patience. We might, be all right to make it through what we have to go through in life.
Yes.
So I'm like, if God knew him, why would he not know me?
Yeah, he knows us all.
He knows us all, right? Okay. So it's like, I was of the mindset, no, man, he can't be pro-choice. That would kind of violate him or his word to not let us choose.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But I believe that he would always choose life.
I agree.
So that's why I don't know what the clear answer is. Is God pro-life or pro-choice?
The answer is objective to each person. It is objective to each person. As Christians, we will get backlash for me saying that I'm pro-choice, and so I understand both sides. And we wanted to give, I guess, the background, the history, and also with the Republican and the Democratic parties on what they believe, and just the state laws in general. And then here comes the morals. And do you think there's ever an excuse to
do it?
Do you think a man should have a say so if a woman should have an abortion or not?
I think if the man and the woman, together, I think they should have a discussion about it.
I didn't say a discussion. I said, should he have a say so?
At the end of the day, no.
No.
At the end of the day, no. It's her choice. But isn't that the same thing? Like, all right, we're discussing this. I do have an opinion. I have a say so.
Absolutely.
So in that regard, yes, I have a say so. Like, I don't, but ultimately, that decision falls on your lap. You make that choice, and I gotta support you and go from there. But yeah, so I think they do have a say so. But I think ultimately it's
she has the final say.
She has the final say.
We never have the final say, but on this, ladies, we have the final say. God has the final say, but
how you gonna say God has a final say?
God has because it's between you and God. At the once you between you and God. After my testimony, or after my story, I started to feel like, okay, maybe this was like God calling me, drawing me. Not long after that, I did get saved and give my life to Christ, and
Beautiful.
I knew that this was something that I'm looking like maybe this was an act of God that I didn't see, that I didn't hear, because other than that, I knew I was going to Planned Parenthood to get an abortion. There's no reason why I should have walked out there and walked out of there not getting it, unless this was God's, divine plan for my life and for my son's life. So it's going to be between you and God.
It is between you and God. We agree that God would be for
life.
Right? He's not against killing. Okay.
No.
I'm sorry to use that word. And all lives are, I don't know, sacred.
Yes.
Okay, we agree on that. So I think that's why, like you said, at the end of the day, it's your perspective of it, because you can see why people would say God is pro-life. Like, life is sacred. He's not for destroying life. Actually, people make the argument, though, because in the Old Testament, there was a lot of killing and wars, and God said, kill this person, don't let no one. Yeah, that's a part
of punishment.
It was. That people don't understand or realize that they say God is immoral, but you don't agree with that, do you?
No,
Okay, all right. So we'll not have to go into that
I
subject.
believe he's a just God.
A just God. You make these choices. He outlines, hey, if you do this, there's this.
Yeah, there's a consequence
There's
for
for
everything.
every choice. But God loves us so much that he gave us the free will to make the choice.
Yes.
But whatever choice, there's a consequence bound to it. So if you can live with that, go ahead. But I would say his way is probably the best way.
His way is the best way. He hasn't failed me yet. It has been tough. As a parent, I had to think back like, God, was you talking to me in that room or not? Did I do the right thing? Like, it has gotten hard, but or it has been rewarding. It's just, this is my walk. This is my cross to bear as
you can help others.
Yeah,
right?
I can help. I have been helping others. So I guess that's where I can, have a voice in that to say I've been there, I've witnessed it, but I understand whatever choice that you make. And for women that have had it or will have it or just contemplating getting it, I don't think you should be so grief-stricken, like guilt-stricken about it. I think that's something you need to talk to God about and alleviate, because a lot of women, they put themselves down a lot because they had to make the choice. And whatever circumstances in your life that made you have to have the choice to terminate a pregnancy, whether it be life circumstances, health reasons, or whatnot, this is not something that I'm not going to say get over, but this is not something that God will not forgive you for. This is not something that you can't say, well, I didn't want to do it, I did it, or whatnot, but I'm sorry I did it. However your response or your dialogue back and forth with God is, give it to him and to move on. Now, don't make it a habit now. Don't make it a habit.
Don't make it God a habit. Forbid, right?
God, it is not an alternative to contraception. Don't make it a habit. If that's a
use birth control, do what you gotta.
Use birth control,
right?
And I have some things about birth control and like Plan B and
stuff
like that, contraceptions. Because with abortion, you don't have to go into a clinic at all no more. You can just they prescribe you a pill if you're under 11 weeks and you have it at home.
No.
Yes. They tell you to stay home for 72 hours. They prepare you with a blanket and, the things that you'll need. They tell you to take the pill with a T. They let you know that
actual abortion pill.
There is an abortion. If it was something that I wanted to do and I was less than 11 weeks, it's about 98% effective. That if I'm less than 11 weeks, all I have to do is go take a pill and stay home for the next 72 hours. And then you go for a follow-up to make sure that it's completely out. But we have gotten really progressive with being pro-choice, which I'm not mad at, but I don't like that. That's like readily available either, because so we're like you could just call and say, I need a pill. Like you really can
pay $6.
$6. That was in 2001, though. I'm pretty sure it's more than that now.
Man.
But yeah. So,
okay. We got any other topics? I think we hit everything. I think we're gonna continue this one. Yeah. I want to get guests involved on this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll figure it out how we're gonna do that. But this is episode 2. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Millennial Minded Podcast. Please follow us at millennial.minded on Instagram.
Yes.
Subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave comments, and we want suggestions.
Yes,
topics.
Let us know if you have, if you have a story or a testimony or something that happened not just in relation to what we talked about today, but I'd love to hear, because sometimes I am the only one with that testimony that you're the only one that ran out the abortion clinic, Gia. If I'm not, let me know that I'm not the only one that ran out. And if you had to, you don't have to share, but if you have any interesting things that we did not cover, or some things that you would like to hear us cover, or some things that you would just like to inform us of, we would love to know. So
Absolutely. You can email us at the Millennial Minded Podcast at gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment. We'll read everything. We'll read all the
we
emails.
will respond.
Yes, we will definitely engage. And any topics, ideas, like my cousin Gia said, we will. By the way, we'll get into it. By the way, my dad called and said, "Listen," I sent him the podcast. He's like, "Listen, you guys are very, very political. I'm very proud of you." He said, "Your cousin Gia, she's very good, very sharp." So I wanted to
Thank
give
you,
a shout
Uncle
out.
Paul.
He loved it, so I got to make sure to send him a copy.
Yeah, we've been getting really good feedback. So
Yeah.
we do continue the feedback. We got criticism too. We getting it all.
We got all that.
We
got all
we
that.
working it out, but the fact that we can come and use this platform to share our voice and to share our opinions, and to go, if we have to go back and forth, we do go back and forth, and to come to a common ground. But
Mhm.
hopefully it doesn't confuse anybody. Sometimes it will, because sometimes we're confused
We're
ourselves.
confused too. Yeah.
Nobody has the all of the answers, so
Right.
we're learning as we go.
By the way, last point. When we talked about Trump, and he doesn't want to incite panic, it wasn't his whole campaign based on like panic. Like, Mexicans are coming to get you. The cities are burning. When looting starts, the shooting starts. I feel like his whole thing was built on panic, and now suddenly, but that's another thing.
Now he want to protect us from it.
Right, and didn't protect us at all. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Gmail, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube.
YouTube.
We love you all. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the comments, all that. Those are subscribed. And we're out, right?
We are out. We will see you on episode 3.
Episode 3 next week. We'll stay consistent. God bless everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Millennial minded.